All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at something absolutely massive. We are breaking down a blueprint that honestly has the potential to fundamentally reshape one of the world's most critical economies. You see, Indonesia is a total powerhouse. It's an agricultural and mineral giant and a crucial node in almost every major global supply chain. But for a really long time, their economic engine has been stuck in gear, relying heavily on just pure raw extraction. Well, today we're exploring KMPBORNEO. It's this incredibly ambitious, highly structured plan to unlock Indonesia's sustainable economic potential, literally transforming its raw industries into a modern, high-tech green powerhouse.
Now, to really get why this matters so much on a global scale, we have to start by asking a pretty critical question. How exactly does Indonesia transform its vast raw resources into a sustainable, global powerhouse? For decades, the traditional playbook for resource-rich nations has been pretty straightforward, but deeply flawed. You dig things up, you harvest the raw crops, and you ship them overseas as fast as humanly possible. But exporting raw dirt and unprocessed crops, that leaves billions of dollars on the table. It's a classic historical trap. The necessary shift we're talking about here, and really the heart of this entire blueprint, is moving toward high-tech, green processing before those goods ever even leave the shore. What you should definitely take away from this is that we're looking at a complete economic paradigm shift. We're moving from basic extraction to massive, localized value creation.
To map out this shift, this explainer is going to cover 5 interconnected pillars. 1. The green industrial ecosystem. 2. The commodity downstream revolution. 3. The circular economy driver. 4. Technology and digital transparency. And finally, 5. Global strategic partnership opportunities. Let's get right into it.
Kicking things off with pillar number 1, the green industrial ecosystem, the overarching vision. So the real magic here is how this whole vision is structured. KMP Borneo doesn't operate like your standard mega corporation. It actually operates as a multi-stakeholder cooperative. And the core engine making this all possible is something called the Triple Helix Collaboration. We're talking about a formal strategic alliance connecting government, industry, and academia. Imagine a local rural farm utilizing advanced soil research from a top-tier university, bankrolled by industrial capital and fully protected by federal trade policies. It completely bridges those grassroots on-the-ground resources with top-level government regulatory support and cutting-edge academic research. It's a unified front designed to accelerate sustainable economic transformation from the ground up.
Building Indonesia's green industrial ecosystem through cooperative-based investment. What's truly fascinating to me about this core mission is the very intentional focus on the cooperative model. You might wonder, why build a cooperative instead of just executing a traditional corporate buyout of the farmland? Well, because when you transform local farmers and smaller businesses into vital, empowered stakeholders, they actually care about the long-term success of the project. Crop yield quality goes up, local communities stabilize, and labor disputes drop off. It fundamentally de-risks the entire supply chain for investors, while ensuring that the wealth generated actually elevates the local communities. So inclusive growth isn't just a buzzword here, it's built right into the DNA of the project.
So that's the grand vision, but what does it look like when the rubber hits the road? Let's move to section 2, the commodity downstream revolution, the execution.
This brings us to the physical execution, which is locally referred to as downstream processing. Basically, this just means squeezing every ounce of value out of a commodity before it leaves the country. Let's contrast the old way with the new way. Historically, a country might export raw, unprocessed seaweed for literally pennies on the pound. But the new, highly profitable downstream model processes that exact same seaweed domestically into high-value outputs. Instead of shipping wet plants across the ocean, they refine it into carrageenan. That's a highly sought-after ingredient essential for everything from biomedical packaging to, believe it or not, keeping the ice cream in your freezer perfectly smooth. The economic logic is totally undeniable here. Why on earth would you sell a raw material for pennies when you can sell the refined ingredient for dollars?
And this downstream philosophy is scaling across multiple massive sectors. Take palm oil, for instance. They're implementing dry tech RPMO, which is this super specialized, waterless enzymatic process that drastically slashes energy consumption while actually boosting the oil yield. We're also seeing integrated coconut processing that yields everything from premium virgin coconut oil to advanced aviation biofuel. Then you have massive marine cold chain logistics utilizing industrial blast freezers to ensure top-tier export-grade seafood. And perhaps the most unique one, a breadfruit agroforestry program. Now you might be thinking, why breadfruit? While mining operations often strip the soil of its nutrients, breadfruit trees can actually rehabilitate that dead, reclaimed land while simultaneously producing a staple food source for the local population. It's a brilliant double win for both food security and environmental restoration.
Of course, processing all of these goods naturally creates a ton of industrial waste, which perfectly sets up Section 3, the circular economy driver, or turning waste into energy.
Okay, let's dive into the circular economy layer, where industrial waste is completely reimagined as a highly lucrative resource. Let's look at palm oil mill effluent, or POM. Historically, this is notoriously toxic stuff. If it's just left to sit in open ponds, it releases massive amounts of methane gas into the atmosphere. But in this new ecosystem, it undergoes a radical transformation. First, it's pumped into an anaerobic digester. You can think of that almost like a giant industrial stomach. Then, it moves to a biogas plant. Finally, it's converted into clean, green electricity and upgraded biomethane. It is just a perfect example of turning a major environmental liability into a highly sustainable, profitable asset that can literally power the exact same mills that created the waste in the first place. And it doesn't stop with just the liquid waste. The solid palm biomass, we're talking things like empty fruit bunches, fronds, and shells, is also fully monetized. It's transformed into wood pellets, biochar, and renewable fuel. What's absolutely crucial here is the bottom line. This creates a true zero-waste ecosystem. And because this process is provably removing emissions from the atmosphere, it generates highly sought-after ESG-compliant carbon credits. Just think about who needs to buy these credits right now. Massive global tech giants trying to hit net zero goals, or European airlines needing to offset their jet fuel emissions. You are literally connecting local Indonesian agricultural waste to global high finance, turning farm scraps into a tradable carbon currency. Now, to actually prove to those global buyers that this entire system is genuinely green, it needs a verifiable brain. That brings us to Section 4, Technology and Digital Transparency.
Running an operation of this scale requires a massive digital infrastructure, known here as a smart plantation ecosystem. We are talking about GIS land mapping, satellite remote sensing, geotagging, and AI monitoring. Imagine a satellite in low Earth orbit pinging an AI database on the ground, just to verify that a specific newly planted hectare of palm oil wasn't grown on illegally slashed and burned rainforest land. They are mapping land ownership down to the exact meter and using AI to predict crop yields. This guarantees absolute traceability from the exact seed planted in the dirt all the way to global export.
So, why does this extreme level of tracing actually matter to you or to multinational investors? Because absolute digital transparency secures market access. Digital tracing provides undeniable proof of zero deforestation. For context, the European Union recently passed the Deforestation Regulation, or EUDR, which are hands down some of the strictest environmental supply chain laws in the world. If you cannot definitively prove where your agricultural product came from, you simply cannot sell it in Europe. End of story. By baking this traceability into their model from day one, KMPBORNEO isn't just protecting the environment, they're creating a massive competitive advantage. This digital transparency is literally the master key that unlocks the world's most lucrative global markets.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Section 5, Global Strategic Partnership Opportunities, the engine.
So how does an ambitious blueprint like this actually get built? Through strategic international partnerships. The whole plan relies on a highly synergistic division of labor, specifically designed for international partners, like major engineering firms out of China, for example. Let's walk through a hypothetical partnership. A global firm brings world-class engineering design, the heavy manufacturing equipment, and the massive investment capital. Normally, their biggest headache is navigating foreign bureaucracy, but here they don't have to. On the local side, KMPBML Indonesia handles all the complex realities of project development, licensing, land acquisition, and government relations. It is the perfect marriage of global capital and cutting-edge tech with deep, localized Indonesian access. And KMP Borneo isn't locking partners into a single rigid financial box either. There are diverse, highly adaptable financial frameworks available. Investors can jump into joint ventures or EPC partnerships, which, by the way, stands for engineering, procurement, and construction contracts. There's also blended finance, which mixes public, philanthropic, and private funds to lower the overall risk profile of installing new green technology. Whether a global investor wants a direct long-term equity stake in a processing plant or just prefers traditional project financing, there's a tailored, secure pathway for them to participate.
If we had to distill everything we've discussed today into one ultimate investment mode, it is the creation of a captive supply chain. It instantly connects local grassroots cooperatives directly with global industrial technology. For international investors, this is basically the holy grail.
Immediate, licensed access to raw resources that are completely de-risked because they are fully backed by government compliance, digital traceability, and academic research. It essentially eliminates the friction of resource acquisition while maximizing both the economic return and the genuine green impact of the project. Which leads us right to our final thought, and a pretty powerful question to leave you with today. Will you be part of Indonesia's green industrial revolution? We've unpacked a highly structured blueprint here. We've looked at the vast, untapped potential of moving from raw resources to high-value goods, the unassailable transparency of their digital technology, and the wide-open doors for global partnership. The foundation is firmly set for an economic transformation that beautifully balances massive industrial profitability with true environmental sustainability. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and as always, keep looking for the blueprints of tomorrow.